from here. Nintendo's financial briefing from the second quarter of the fiscal year was rather uneventful. They're going to reveal, or in this case, announce, the Nintendo Switch successor within this fiscal year. But then he decided to say more. Way more, in fact. Confirming one of the biggest leaked features. So be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell. Backwards compatibility. Yes, these are the words of the Nintendo president, Furukawa himself. Quote, "This is Furukawa. At today's corporate management policy briefing, we announced that Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor to Nintendo Switch as well. Further information about the successor to Nintendo Switch, including its compatibility with Nintendo Switch, will be announced at a later date." This is more than we expected to get from this briefing. And to be fair, it changes literally everything, because your entire library of games that you've been working for, putting countless hours into, will now be playable, and most likely with your save files, on the Nintendo Switch successor, or Nintendo Switch 2 as we'll call from this point onward. What does this mean? Well, we know that this system is definitely far more powerful than the Nintendo Switch. And leaks have been pretty accurate or repeating when it comes to the fact that this system is an upscaler and using NVIDIA DLSS upscaling, which means that many of those games we already have might be soon playable in 4K. Another reason to switch to the successor. But that means that every game, not only Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, so the early games on the Switch, but also even the latest releases like Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, even Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition are playable on the Nintendo Switch 2. And what's more, they are likely to be playable undocked in 1080p, 60 frames per second, thanks to the power of the system, and with NVIDIA DLSS upscaling in upscaled 4K, possibly even 60 frames per second. We don't know the deets yet, how it's gonna work with the backwards compatible games, because obviously there's a big rumor about a 4K remastered version of Breath of the Wild, U-King-O, that's the codename, which corresponds very closely to the codename of Breath of the Wild, that being U-King. So we'll have to see when we get the final reveal, but I have a feeling with this announcement from President Furukawa that they want us to have these minor details about the system out of the way, that meaning we don't want to spend time when we announce this thing on features like backwards compatibility. No, our focus is on hardware. We're gonna detail what kind of specs this thing is running on and how we're able to get to upscaled 4K. Demonstrate differences, graphical jumps, something they haven't done since the Wii U days. You know, when we had the Zelda tech demo, when we had a number of other tech demos demonstrating the difference from standard signal to HD signal when it came to resolutions and TV output. So this is going to be a very different reveal, obviously, when it happens. But 2024 isn't off the table anymore. There are possibilities, and you could point out that Jeff Keighley, the host of the Game Awards, replied, but he replies to pretty much everything. And Nintendo isn't really that into the Game Awards. They are in a position of their own. They know that Sony messed up with the PS5 Pro, especially the pricing of it, and now they can just come out with small details like, oh yeah, you can play all your Nintendo Switch games on this thing, so don't worry. And I think it is something that is going to definitely help with bringing over early adopters to the new system. Even though there are not that many exclusives yet on the Nintendo Switch successor, well, you have your entire library now looking and playing better than ever. Something that we last had an experience of with the Wii U, where Wii games looked better than they did on, a little bit better at least, thanks to the HDMI signal, than they did on the Wii. But here it's going to be even more noticeable, and that's all thanks to powerful specs. Like we know about the Tegra T239 custom system on chip. We know that it's going to be 6 gigabytes plus 6 gigabytes, so 12 gigabytes of RAM, and that also Samsung is providing their technology. All details point to an 8-inch display, 1080p, and the same goes with bigger storage when it comes to internal storage, that being the 256 gigabytes SSD with faster loading times. Of course, none of this has been still confirmed. We know these from shipment details, like UFS 3.1, 2100 megabytes per second, loading speeds. Some developers are already ready to confirm their games for the system, like we saw already with UK Replay, something that most likely got the marketing director at Nintendo UK into trouble because he responded to their announcement about the game's presence on the Nintendo Switch successor, or just a Nintendo with googly eyes. The one thing we need to realize about backwards compatibility is that this system on day one has a Smash game. It has a Mario Kart game, even though it's probably going to get a brand new one. It's going to have a new 3D Mario. It's going to have another 3D Mario, 2 3D Zelda games. Like, the massive library of games. And think about games like Age of Calamity, for example, that run horribly on the Switch, especially multiplayer. Now it's going to be 100% more enjoyable thanks to improved frame rate and even resolutions. Maybe even games of the most ambitious caliber, like The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Because we know CD Projekt Red, they gave us a next-gen version for The Witcher 3 and they did it for free on the other systems. So who's to say they don't do that on the Switch successor as well? The amount of games that this system is going to have is just insane, because we also know that Nintendo Switch Online, with its giant library of retro games, is going to be present on successor. So just keep your subscription. Like, this is a way for Nintendo to tell people to renew their Nintendo Switch Online subscription. And we already have NES, we have SNES, we have N64, we have Game Boy Advance, and more on Nintendo Switch Online. We have Nintendo Music included as well. The continuation of Nintendo Switch Online with its current content means it's only a matter of time when we get on the Nexus system, or maybe even on the Switch already, GameCube Switch Online, DS Switch Online, and maybe at some point even the Wii Switch Online. And being able to play, Animal Crossing, the best sellers of the Switch, right away on the new system, well, then I think we already are at that point where Nintendo has won. Nintendo has not released a single game in 2024 that was developed by their studios alone, exclusively. In most cases, it is their partners that have been developing. And the case is also with 2025. If we look at Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, well, who's developing that? Monolith Soft. What is going on with Pokemon Legends Arceus? That's Game Freak. What about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond? That is Retro Studios. Nintendo's own development houses are all busy developing exclusive games for the next system. That is plain and simple what is going on from Nintendo's side of things. And also get the third-party support they want, because if the system has backwards compatibility, allowing their existing ports, we have Square Enix, we have Capcom, we have CD Projekt Red, we have From Software even, thanks to Dark Souls, though we're likely to get Elden Ring. It's rumored to be the Skyrim of proof of how powerful the system is. The Ubisoft titles with Assassin's Creed, Mario and Rabbids, there's just so much that Nintendo is telling their developers with this announcement. They're literally confirming that every game that you've ported to the Switch is now automatically on the next system, which means that you can already sell those games, but in addition you can also port your AAA games that you were not able to port to the Switch now to the Switch too. That is an absolute game changer, and there's no way that they can throw this away. Outside of course, a way too high price, $500 plus. They have just confirmed that Nintendo Switch Online is not going to be discontinued early, as we saw in the case of the Wii U Online, the Virtual Console, and so on. No, it's here to stay for a longer time, which makes sense because they wanted to continue the Nintendo account, as they said. The new system already has a new Animal Crossing. It already has Pokemon games. It already, at launch, including Pokemon Legends Arceus. Nintendo can now announce pretty much anything for the Switch. And we know it's going to be on the successor. So no matter what is coming out, you're going to be able to play it on the Nintendo Switch successor. So the only thing that a reveal before the holidays now can impact is the sales of the Nintendo Switch system, because people will be holding off. This is why I still believe that the final reveal of the system is likely to happen during the next corporate management policy briefing, that being in February. after the Q3, that being the holiday season. What do you think about all of this? I want to see your response in the comments. I want to see your replies in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and press the notification bell. As always, a big shout out to you for watching until the end, and to all of our patreon.com/commonrealm patrons. Special shoutouts go to our raw producers Zach Johnson and JC Funk, and heroes Holly Wolf, Cheryl, and Garrett Hoy. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.